When you're trying to make the smallest image to send to someone, instead of using the File Save As command, try selecting the File Save for Web command. In the Save for Web dialog box, typically the default setting is to come up with the optimized view, but I like to compare the original with the compressed version that I'm creating, so I like to switch this to 2UP. Now, over on the right-hand side, we can see that the default file format that Save for Web is going to use is the GIF file format, but I'm going to switch that over to a JPEG because I'm looking at a photograph. Then we can dial in the quality settings that you want. We can see here if I go down to the lowest quality, I'm seeing the image kind of break apart here. I'm losing a lot of detail. You might not be able to see that when you're viewing this video, so let me just zoom in one more time. I'll use Command plus on the Mac or Control plus on Windows. And here we can compare these areas where there's all these rivets. You can see on the right-hand side, we're losing a lot of detail. So on the left, we can see this is our original. It's 2.41 megs, and the JPEG set to low quality. Although it's a very small file size, the quality is really unacceptable. So let's change this to medium, and we can see that it is getting better, but I'll go ahead and move this over to high. So I think I could be happy with the high setting. Let's move it to very high. I really don't see much of a difference there at all, so I'm going to scoot back to high. But it looks like my file size is still fairly large. It's 121K. If I was going to use this as a web graphic, I would definitely want to get it lower. Well, let's take a look at the rest of the settings. Convert to sRGB, I definitely want that checked on because I am going to post this to a website. That's why I'm trying to get it so small. I want to include my copyright and contact information. I know that's going to make the file size just a tiny bit larger, but that's important to me, so I'll include that. But when we come down here, you'll notice that my image size is still really large. We're talking 1125 pixels wide, so I can definitely decrease that. If I go down to 800 pixels and tap the Tab key, then it will recalculate, and you can see now I'm down to 66K. And if I click on this downward pointing arrow here, I can actually choose between all of these different download times here. So if I want to get a good idea of what I think my client's download speed is and how long it would take to download this graphic, I can go ahead and check this out here. Now, sometimes you need to compress your file to a specific file size. So if you need to do that, you can click in the upper right-hand corner under the Optimize menu, and you can optimize to a specific file size. So if I absolutely had to get this down to a specific file size, like let's say 50K, I could enter that in. I want to start with the current settings, and I'll click OK. You can see now that Photoshop has adjusted the quality setting. It's giving me the best quality it can, but still keeping this file under 50K. And finally, the last really cool feature, in my opinion, is when I click Save, Photoshop is going to ask me to name the file. So I'll go ahead and put an LR after this. That'll tell me it's my low-res file. I'll click Save, and then you'll notice that I'm back to my original image. So if this was a multi-layered document that I'd been working on and everything, when I choose File, Save for Web, Photoshop saves off a copy of the document, and when it's finished saving, it returns you right back to the image that you were working on. So when you're trying to make the smallest file possible, be sure to use Photoshop's Save for Web command.